NBT Nation, it's a random Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning live coming to you once again from the mobile studios. It's Adam Spack, certified no boring trainer here. Wanted to dive into some topics. What really makes for a great corporate trainer? What skills do you need to pay the bills? We're going to dive into all of that. I'm Adam Spack, certified no boring trainer and founder of Cast Concepts, the home of no boring training, where we really fight back against the corporate learning crisis. We fight back against boring, horrible, awful, miserable, just awful training, which does not move the organization forward, and it certainly doesn't help people to grow and develop. If you're interested in this concept, this content, and you find it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, sub to the channel so that we can continue to make great content like this for you. So I'm deep in the middle of twofold gig here. One is to assist with the delivery of a 2-week training program, but also help guide the formation of training for a large organizational-wide infrastructure project. Lots going on. That got me thinking. What really makes for a great trainer? So number one, of course, we're going to say the minimum bar here, the minimum standard is great delivery, great classroom management, great ability to guide people to knowledge. That's a minimum standard. So we're just going to sort of check that box and assume that if you're in a corporate training role, maybe at a small firm, small company, there's no like training team, you're kind of it. We're going to assume that you are able to deliver effective training. You use the 6 pillars of interesting training. You do all the things you need to do. So we're going to gloss over that fairly quickly. Here's my list of what I think are the skills needed to really be a great trainer. One thing to deliver really well and to help people learn, that's super critical, obviously. What are those other skills we're going to dive in right now? Number one, the ability to do e-learning, the ability to create effective, interesting e-learnings to complement that classroom delivery. If at your organization all you do is classroom delivery and there's no e-learning component to it, I think you're really missing out. So the ability to use a package like Rise 360s or, whoops, let's see, it looks like somebody's joined us here. And welcome aboard, Travel Links. Great to have you here. If you do great classroom delivery, but that's all you do in your organization, you're missing out on things. So being able to utilize a package like Rise 360 or any of the other e-learning programs, being comfortable to create SCORM packages, to be able to really put together those interesting e-learning modules that aren't boring and awful. People aren't trying to click through them as fast as they possibly can. That's a super important skill to give a more broad delivery of knowledge in your organization. And it's not hard, it's not expensive, it's not complicated. Even if you don't do full-blown e-learnings with a SCORM that loads up into a learning management system, log in here, take your class, even if you don't do that, being comfortable putting together maybe some PowerPoints, some explainer videos, some work instructions, some infographics, some guides, cheat sheets, work tools, work aids, put all that together and put it in a shared folder as sort of like a e-learning basic. Being comfortable to do that and capable of doing that, super important to make you a great trainer. Welcome to NBT Live on a Sunday afternoon. We're talking about what are the skills needed to be a great trainer. If you find this interesting, please sub to the channel, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you've joined us here. Looks like, oh my goodness, looks like there's 17 of y'all out there. 5 thumbs up so far, fantastic. Hello everyone out there, I'm on my mobile device, so drop me a comment, let me know that you are out there. Number 2, effective skills to pay the bills and be a really great, well-rounded trainer. You gotta be a good copywriter. Now, when you go to trainer school, you don't spend that much time on writing copy, but being able to write effectively, whether that's to communicate, hey, here's this new program, here's why you should take it, whether that's putting together proposals to upper leadership as to why they should invest and approve and support your training efforts, whether that's spreading the word internally, whether that's putting descriptions on the training materials that you put out there, whatever it may be. Make sure you brush up on your copywriting skills, whether that be I can write a killer hook to get people to click on my little micro video, whether that's I can write an effective email to get people interested in wanting to watch my video, whatever it may be. Work on your copywriting skills. There's 1,000 experts out there. I'm not one. Find online those copywriting experts. I would recommend Nadine Hare, Write Wiser. Fantastic copywriter. You can learn a lot from her, which will help you promote the learning inside your organization. The third skill that makes you a great trainer. Obviously, delivery is important. That's minimum requirement. But the third skill that would make you a great, well-rounded trainer is being a great graphic designer, or at least having an eye for graphic design. In the training world, you're having to create the presentation, create infographics, create work instructions, create guides. We do a lot of things visually. Having an eye, a flair for graphic design that clearly communicates messages, so it can boil a complex topic down into like an eye-catching visual or meme or something like that. Having a flair for graphic design can come in really handy, because the more of that you can do to complement your classroom delivery, it adds interest and it helps communicate the learning outward. So again, I'm not saying you have to be some world-class full-time graphic designer. Knowing your way around a Canva or something like that and being able to make eye-catching, popping type visuals for your learning material, super duper important. One last one before we get into the real deep dive of the skills: video and editing. If you're a world-class deliverer of training, video is an amazing way to increase the amount of learning in your organization. Being comfortable on camera, super important, but also being able to quickly edit those videos. And there's a million tools out there. We're not going to get bogged down in them in this presentation, but there's a million tools out there. Camtasia, CapCut, not Snapchat. Uh, there's a million of them out there. Do a Google search, you'll find them. But being able to navigate your way around video and incorporate that into your learning programs where it's relevant and appropriate. This is really the golden age. You need a mobile device, maybe some earbuds, you're off to the races. And you can make a really powerful learning library. Getting comfortable editing those videos, slapping in a transition, putting a cool graphic in there, having an infographic that visually delivers whatever concept you're trying to get across. Or maybe it's like, here's a demonstration of some safety technique and you've got the image on the screen while you're talking over it, whatever. Being comfortable putting that together helps you to share more information throughout the organization, makes you a more effective, more well-rounded trainer. So we're tearing through the list. We've got a few more here to go. Take a little coffee break, creative fuel here from the mobile studios. All right. Lots of thumbs up out there. If you're finding this content interesting, please give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment down below. Tag in your friends, and most importantly, sub to the channel, and we'll continue to make great content about effective corporate learning to fight back against the corporate learning crisis. How about that? All right. So we've already talked about e-learning, copywriter, graphic designer, video skills. Those are great skills to round out your abilities as a corporate trainer. Here's an interesting one. You got to be a great detective. Yeah, that's right. You got to be a great detective. You have to have the relationships and the ability to talk to frontline users, frontline managers, senior leaders, go out and really get under the hood. So when somebody says, we need a training, we need to really do blah, 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 you can go out and really poke around in the organization. You can look at data, you can get anecdotal evidence from all those groups I just mentioned, and you can really piece together the narrative because it may be, my friends, that that request for training is really the result of a broken system or a broken process. Guess what? That ain't a training problem. It may be that when you do your research, you're a detective, you really kind of dig in behind the scenes, you may find out it's an employee discipline issue. Again, not a training problem or response. That would not be appropriate. In other words, somebody just isn't performing, they're not following the procedures and protocols and policies of the organization. They are a discipline issue. Sometimes people will want to use training as a hammer or as a punishment. You obviously need some training. That's the last place you want to be as a trainer. And if you aren't a detective to go get that information, piece it together, and go back to the person who requested the training in the first place to say, here's my findings, then you will find yourself in that bad position. So be a detective. Really dive in, dig in. A lot of times, those training requests we get are 100% a training response is appropriate. So the more you can be a detective to pull out all that information, it makes your presentation later on more effective, more real, more tied into the business problems. It's more relatable. It's really got some authenticity to it. So your classroom delivery, which is the minimum standard for a good trainer, now becomes even better because you did the detective work back during the analysis while you were building out the program. You dug in and got some great information. Super important skill that you can hone. You got to have the network in the first place, so cultivate, grow those networks, and then you got to learn what are the right questions to ask. Who do I ask them to? What's the data I need? Really dig in. It's going to help you to have far more effective trainings. So here we are on a Sunday morning live from the mobile studios. I'm Adam Spack, certified no boring trainer. If you're finding this interesting, we're talking about what really makes a great, well-rounded corporate trainer, not just delivery skills, but what are all the other things you need to know. If you're finding this interesting, give it a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. All right, next on the list, it's a big one. It's a really big one. And it's something that maybe you don't often think about. Being a consultant to leadership. As a great corporate trainer, you have to be a great assistant to the senior leadership of the organization. You can not only get into the weeds of some tactical, technical, day-to-day thing and really teach people that thing, but you can go into the boardroom and speak the language of leadership. If you really want the learning in your organization to be utilized as a tool to move the business forwards, and if you want to quit being pigeonholed as, oh, you're just the trainer and you just go teach people how to do whatever. If you want to move beyond that, you have to be able to sit down with the C-suite, talk their language, deliver information in a way that is succinct, clear, and direct, and it is tied to solutions to the problems that keep them up at night. C-suite folks, they worry about retention of the talent, keeping people around. They worry about net promoter score. They worry about revenue and profits and productivity and all of these sorts of subjects. And if you can show them a pathway to get there, or if they come to you with an issue, you can dial in how the thing ties to those big picture subjects and clearly communicate that. Oh man, your training is going to become so much more powerful. And whether you're in a small firm or a big firm, that ability to go speak with leadership is a huge part of being a great, effective corporate trainer. You got to be able to speak and communicate with leaders. And they speak a whole different language. They don't care about what transition you're going to use or learning styles or learning journeys or any of that nonsense. They want results. Show them how they're going to get it through the vehicle of training. All right, so be a great consultant to leadership. Again, that's maybe its own standalone topic. That is an important part of being an effective, a well-rounded corporate trainer. All right, we're sailing through the list. Only two more to go, my friends. Only two more to go on this random Sunday morning live. Lots of thumbs up out there. Great to see. If you're finding this interesting, please sub to the channel. All right. We've been through a lot here so far. Let's talk about the next one on the list. And this is, again, a skill for a well-rounded corporate trainer that maybe you don't think about right off the bat, right out the gate. You ready? Project management. Project manager skills. The more you are comfortable with managing projects to get them to completion, the better of a trainer you will be. The larger the training need, so in other words, if you're doing a huge program that requires lots of people and lots of session and lots of logistics, whether you're planning out a training initiative for a department for an entire year, or whether you are managing other people to help execute on pieces of training, project management skills help you pay the bills. And it's being able to do things like defining a scope, defining the risk. You can get down into daily scrums. You could be setting up scrum boards, setting milestones, doing risk analysis, all of these sorts of project managery skills. And again, I'm not suggesting that you as a trainer have to be a certified PMP type thing that Jeremiah Hammond at Project Revolution might help you to do. I'm not saying you got to go to that level, but having some basic working knowledge of how to manage a project and have those project management skills, super duper important. There is, the more you can do that, you'll get projects done more quickly, more effectively. You won't get lost in the sauce of some little creative detail like, oh, geez, what sort of game or activity should I use in my session? You'll be focused on getting the session built and completed in a reasonable time frame and in a repeatable, standardized way. So project manager skills, and again, the more you're in maybe a training manager's role, or you're maybe you're you're a full-time trainer at your firm, but you're a one-person show, and every time you do something, you have to work with 10 other people inside the organization. You got to have those project management skills, basic stuff. So be thinking about that. If that's an area where you struggle or your projects never quite seem to get to fruition, you never quite get over the finish line, project management skills might be a way to improve how you deliver learning inside your organizations. One more to go. One more to go. Let's see how far we in. We're 18 minutes in. We're doing great here on a Sunday morning live, NBT Live. What are the skills that make you a more well-rounded, effective trainer? It's not all just about delivery. That's the part that everybody sees. Super important, without a doubt, but that's the minimum level. You got to have all of these other skills. So let's review the other skills before we get to the big finale with the last one we'll talk about today. So what other skills have we talked about so far? Have to be a great e-learning creator if you're not utilizing e-learning in your organization. Work on developing your copywriting skills. If you need help, seek out Nadine Hare at Right Riser. I'll put some links down in the comments below. Graphic designer skills. Brush up on your Canva. Great graphic design can really help improve the learning in your organization. Video and video editing skills. This is the golden age of video. Super easy to do. And there's lots of video folks out there that can help you. You got to be a detective. You got to be able to dig in your organization and really get to the root cause of what's going on. When somebody says, we need a training, and you start to do your analysis, you got to dig in and really get the facts. You got to be a consultant to leadership. If you're not able to speak the language of leadership, you're not going to get the support you need for your training ideas and programs, and you're really not going to be solving business needs and problems, which is one of the points of training. And then lastly, as a summary, we've been talking about being a good project manager. A lot of these training efforts are very complicated. They bump into other departments, other people. And if you don't have great project management skills, you're going to have a hard time getting the work done. Jeremiah Harmon over at Project Revolution can help you with that. Again, I'll put some links down below. The last skills to pay the bills here on a Sunday afternoon: data analysis, data analytics, being comfortable with data. This is sort of a subset of being a detective, but organizations typically have all sorts of data. It could be formalized, where you can go into a computer system and look at, hit a button and get all sorts of analytics for you and dashboards and all that cool stuff. It could be that there's a lot of data in your organization, but it's sort of siloed with a couple individuals and their spreadsheets, but the data is still there. Or it could be there's just data all over the place and none of it's organized. But either way, looking at data helps you to recognize training needs, recognize opportunities for training, and it helps you to tell that narrative of why that training is helping the business move forward or helping individuals improve in their skills. Because you look at the data and you recognize we're having all of these assembly issues out on the floor. Why are the frontline teams not able to do the assembly? Well, geez, we never told them how to do it in the first place, or we changed the process 1,000 times, or it's hand-me-down sort of tribal knowledge that we're passing along. So whenever we hire a new assembler, that knowledge transfer doesn't take place, and we get a lot of mistakes. Well, golly, by looking at data, you can recognize that opportunity. By looking at data, when you have those discussions with leadership, you can come with facts and figures, which is, pro tip, what leaders want. We need to do this training because our net promoter score is down 13% quarter over quarter. It's in this sector with these users. Here's what they're reporting. Here are the percentages in terms of what those complaints mean. Here's what the cost of those complaints are. Here is the root cause of those complaints, and oh, lo and behold, it's a lack of training or a need for recurrent refresher training. And to be able to tell that narrative with data, facts, figures, oh boy, you will get your point across far more effectively than just storming in there saying, nobody knows how to do anything. Come with a graph, come with a spreadsheet, have all the numbers laid out. You'll get support for that training program. I virtually guarantee it. So, long list. It's been a long list. There's so much more to training than just classroom delivery. That's an important part. Absolutely a huge important part of being a corporate trainer. Whether you're a full-time trainer or you just do it as a side gig and you have a bunch of other responsibilities. Delivery is the starting point, and that's why No Boring Training spends so much time focused on the delivery of training. You can visit our website at noboringtraining.com. We've got a video channel. It's $25 a year, and you get short, less than 1 minute tips on effective delivery. We have all sorts of other resources at noboringtraining.com. Again, aimed specifically at delivery. Delivery, hugely important part of being a trainer, full-time or part-time. Having said that, though, hopefully this presentation has gotten you to realize there are so many other skills that are needed to be a world-class, certified No Boring trainer. Think about these. Think about e-learning. Think about being a copywriter. Look at being a great graphic designer. Brush up on your video and editing skills. Become a great detective in your organization. Find who has the information you need and build those networks so that you can get it. Become a great consultant to leadership. Really understand their problems and how you can help them to solve those problems. Work on your project management skills, brush up on those. And then data analytics, really know how to where to find the data in the first place, how to get your hands on it. But then what do you do with that data? How to parse the information to then be able to make recommendations back to leadership or across the organization. Those are some of the skills you need to really become a great trainer and to help drive learning throughout your organization and fight back against the corporate learning crisis. Let me know what you think. Leave me some comments down below. Give it a thumbs up if you found this helpful. Sub to the channel so we can keep making content like this. Any questions at all, reach out to me. I'd be glad to help you out. And don't forget to visit noboringtraining.com, where we really focus on helping trainers and the leaders who want to have better outcomes in their organization through the vehicle of training. We help both. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Great to see you. Talk to you soon.